The cool thing about the uniforms is that they're each like cut independently, so each player has their own unique uniform. They're the only one with that uniform, and I think they're the first ones in the NBA to do that. So it's something kind of cool.
Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of the TF Cast. My name is Willis Stout, and this is your favorite arts and culture podcast based in Mankato, Minnesota.
And it is November 29th. I am your host, Jacob Bases, here to introduce Megan Fick, an artist who is working with the Minnesota Timberwolves on their City Edition program. Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist and this project you have going on with the Timberwolves and what people can see around Mankato.
Yeah, so I've been in the Mankato area for about the past 6 years, and the Timberwolves reached out to me about a community project. So they chose 3 cities throughout Minnesota: Rochester, Duluth, and Mankato, to put up billboards to celebrate the new City Edition uniforms that they have. So I have 3 billboards up around Mankato that kind of just celebrate our community here. So it's based around the things I like around Mankato, which is mostly the outdoors, and they should be up through most of December.
Cool. And you said that there were other billboards in different cities. So were there multiple artists picked for this? And so are you a local artist, or are your billboards also in those other cities?
So each billboard campaign is unique to the artist in their city. So there's the ones in Duluth. I believe it was Moira Vallard who did those ones, and then Madison Kelly in Rochester. So they each have their own respective billboards up in those cities. The ones up in Mankato are just mine.
Cool. And so you said that they were inspired by local or by nature in the area. Can you elaborate a little bit? What might people find on them?
Yeah. So one part about this campaign is the Timberwolves wanted to celebrate what makes each community special. So I thought to myself about what I like about the community, and I like to go camping, and I like going to Minneopa. So I tried to bring some of those elements into the billboards I created. So there's one that's like more of a camping scene. There's one of just Minneopa State Park with a bison on it, and then I have one that is just some classic Timberwolves on there. So yeah.
Sure. I'll display some of those alongside because I have your Instagram post, but I've actually seen the one that's out on, what is that, Stadium?
Oh, over by campus.
Yeah, over by campus. Mm-hmm. It was funny because it was the day that I booked this, and I was like, I wonder where, and I was just driving by, and I noticed it like in that moment, and it was kind of a funny thing to have happen. And are these designs reflected in the uniforms, or are the uniforms just based on Mankato done by some other thing?
So I drew from the uniforms by using the same color pattern that's on the uniforms. The uniforms this year, they're white to represent like a blank canvas, and then the colors are meant to represent different communities throughout Minnesota. The cool thing about the uniforms is that they're each like cut independently, so each player has their own unique uniform. They're the only one with that uniform, and I think they're the first ones in the NBA to do that. So it's something kind of cool.
Oh, neat. I think I saw an image of those too. It looked like mostly white, and then they had some colors and patterns up here. But you're saying that the colors and they're unique.
Yep, each has their own pattern unique to the player and color pattern. Yeah,
that's neat. I'll have to look into that a little further. What's your personal experience and history with the sport, basketball?
When I was younger, I played softball. I was never a basketball player, but I've been to a couple of games in the past, and I really enjoy it. Going tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to work a little bit with the organization.
Yeah. It's been fun working. Like everyone there is really kind, and it's been really fun working with them. This whole project, they kind of let me do my own thing and kind of bring my own unique style to it. So it's been fun.
What besides the the artwork has been included in the project? Like, what have you had the opportunity to go do or see through this?
They just launched last week, so it's still kind of in progress. But yeah, I'm going to a game tomorrow, and then I think Friday I have a meeting with the news station here, so it's still kind of figuring some things out. But
cool.
Yeah.
Are the jerseys being played in yet, or are they new coming?
Yeah, they just launched them a few weeks ago.
Oh, cool. That's neat. So what how did they decide where to put the billboards, or did they just have spots that
I think
they
it
were
just kind
trying
of
to fill?
depends on the traffic of the area.
Sure.
If anyone's ever looking for them, there's one out by Casey's in Eagle Lake, one over by campus, and then there's one out by Land of Memories out there. So yeah.
Sure. And what? How did they? Do you know how they chose the cities? Like, I guess I'm curious how Mankato ended up in that spot on the map.
Yeah. So I think when people like automatically think of like sports teams like Minnesota Timberwolves, they think of like the Metro. So they wanted to kind of like branch out beyond that. So I think some of the biggest communities here are Rochester, Duluth, and Mankato. So they just wanted to reach a broader audience in those locations.
Cool. What how did you get into doing art? Like, what led you to be in this position where this was an opportunity for you?
When I was always like drawing when I was younger, and as I got a little older, I kind of struggled with like figuring out what I wanted to do. My family is always really supportive of me, but like, you know, in high school and stuff, they always tell you that you can't make money doing art. So it took me a minute to like kind of land on my feet of where I wanted to be. And in college, I interned at an art gallery in Rochester, and I decided I just loved it. The woman who owned it was also a printmaker, and she really just helped me figure out that that's where I wanted to be. So I've been kind of doing that ever since.
Printmaking, that is.
Yeah, and some graphic design.
Sure. That was going to be kind of my next question is what do you work in? Like I think I've seen some of your art on the walls in other places, like incidentally, like at the 410. But you know, what kind of art do you make in the day to day, and you know what kind of other things? I'm guessing this is the first time you've sold billboards to a sports team.
Yeah.
You know, like what have you been doing, and like what does your work look like?
Yeah, so I kind of dabble in between woodcut prints, linoleum, and then a lot of digital art. Over the pandemic, it was just really hard for me to like have the space or the time to do traditional like printmaking, but I ended up getting an iPad, and I fell in love with that. And there's a lot of things you can mimic that I would physically do. So it's been cool to like kind of mix the two together. So yeah.
What do you use on the iPad? When you were talking about mimicking something, like what are you referring to?
So basically just different like texture packs. Like, I can basically make a woodcut print using some manipulation tactics on like Procreate or whatever. It's just kind of fun to be able to try different things that I wouldn't normally be able to do or like afford to do. Like if I've never tried to oil paint, I could try to, you know, emulate that digitally. And I'm the kind of person like I just want to try everything, even if it doesn't work out. So I think that's a really good way to like dip my feet in.
Sure. I'm a not very good Procreate user, but I guess you know what's the woodcut artist's approach to Procreate? You know, what kind of tools do you use to mimic that kind of look? And
basically for me, when you're carving a block, it's kind of like reduction based, and it's really like strategically planned, and that's something I really like about doing it. So whereas like when you imagine someone drawing, they'd just be straight up drawing. I usually start with like a black canvas, and then we're like carving away the things we want. So there's ways I can emulate that digitally, but still kind of have the same effect. And maybe with a little bit more control. If I make a mistake, I could probably take it back. But yeah, it's mostly just trying to figure out new techniques in a safe way.
Yeah, I can't imagine drawing a negative space like that. Well, I can just imagine really bungling it up.
It's fun. I tell everybody to try it. I first did it actually in high school in my art class, and they gave us linoleum blocks and X-Acto knives. And that one was really hard to try. But that's the first time I ever did it. I think I was like 15, and I just loved it ever since. So.
What so for doing the designs for the billboards, what sort of material processes did you use for that? Use the iPad design?
Yeah, I did that one all digitally. Cool. I tried to not make anything too complicated, just because since it's a billboard, I don't want to draw anyone's attention. You only have a couple seconds to grab people's attention, so I just wanted to make something that was like really light and fun and like recognizable to people. And especially when you see it, I want people to like feel cheery and like feel like they're at home. So
Yeah, it's a pretty neat idea. Just from like, I remember when I noticed the billboard because I had literally been thinking about the thing and I recognized that it had been yours, but it looks more like art than advertisement for the most part. It is highly decorative and like, I mean, like everyone's sick of seeing like Chris Lindahl or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but it took me a second to even register that the Timberwolves were there because it's just kind of like it looks like a banner hanging down the center.
Yeah. That's one really cool thing they let me do is just like let me run with it the way I want to. And especially the fact my name's on it. I thought that was really neat.
Oh, nice.
But I definitely wanted to steer away from making it look too like cold and like an advertisement. And I've done a lot of like advertisement work before. So the fact I could make this something that seems a little more human is something that was fun about the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does the communication work between the artist and the client when they're saying like, hey, we want this to be like a reflection of your work, when it's almost like it seems like a corporate email you'd be answering, you get that kind of thing.
It was almost the best problem to have because they just told me I could do whatever I wanted. And every time I sent them proofs or anything, they were just so supportive and they were just so great about everything. Even, like, I almost felt lost because they just were like, just go for it. I had no like real direction and they're just like, just do you. And like that, just having that on my side was awesome.
Yeah, that's almost harder having less creative direction. You need the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, they basically just said my name and the logo and the website. So
no, that's
cool.
Awesome.
So what's the best way for people to like support this project, or is it kind of an awareness thing? Like go check out the jerseys when they're playing and wave at the billboards.
Yeah, you can check it out online. There's more information. It's timberwolves.com/canvas. Otherwise, just go out and support the games. If you're around the other areas of, Duluth, Rochester, just go check out the art. And especially just, check out art in your local communities. I think that's the biggest draw of this is support local artists. And yeah.
What is, you can go.
You mentioned coming from Rochester and working and printmaking out there, and then now you're here in Mankato. What's the process been like for you, kind of finding the community where you want to be an artist, and what led you back here to Mankato?
Yeah, I moved here for school, and just this community is just so great for art. Like everyone's so welcoming, and especially like the professors I had at MSU, everyone kind of like helps you get in the right direction, and you find your people, and people are just always so supportive. Especially being able to show art at like the Carnegie or 410 or just anyone who will have you around town filling station. Like they're all so great. And like, yeah, everyone's so nice. Like if you reach out to people, they want to help you and they want to critique your work and they want to see what you're doing. So
yeah, that's cool.
Do you have any ongoing projects that you're working on now? Something in the works or?
Right now, I'm just coming off this project. I'm kind of just taking a small break, but I'm hoping next year I want to kind of start doing some stickers and prints and bringing them around some local fairs and things.
Oh, sure. That's cool. You also, you said one of the big things that you equate to this area is like outdoors and like naturalism, camping, stuff like that. Is there any like favorite spots that you have or like parts about this area that you'd like to direct people to, hidden gems maybe, or?
I guess I spent a lot of time out at Minneopa and Land of Memories because I played disc golf a lot. But otherwise, I don't know. I kind of like trying to find new places. I don't like spending the same time at one spot every single weekend. So I don't know. I just encourage people to go out and explore. There's tons of places. Even if you head outside of town, like Waseca, or head out to a different part of the area. You know.
I don't think I've ever been to Waseca. There's like a big park there, or like
there's a few. I should know the name. It escapes me. It's right by my house. I'll figure it out.
Sure. I spend a lot of time out at a 7 Mile. That's my favorite spot to go. I feel like if you just go on the long loop, you can avoid people because they know that it's like there's no way back for 2 miles.
Yeah. I think the one I go to the most is Rasmussen Woods, just because I like that floating bridge so much, even though it's like gone. But I just think that's like a neat thing I don't usually see at parks. So
Sure.
I like that
It's
one, too.
are they taking it down or just like letting it be in disrepair?
I think they're just letting it go because I've definitely stepped through a piece of wood
Yeah.
before. But
I saw in the paper they were trying to figure out like what to do with it, and they had a call for options or something, but it was going to cost a lot of money to build like a raised deck over there. And I think that the problem is maybe that it hasn't been wet enough or something recently, where it like hasn't been floating.
I think that's
either.
part of it. Is it like
Yeah.
we had that drought and it kind of like drowned into the mud?
Yeah,
Mm.
great little loop, but that spot there is right now a little slick, and I guess just snowed over at the moment, so we'll see what they can do
Yeah,
with it.
they put up a sign right at the beginning of the boardwalk too. It's like a city thing that's like, have your voice heard, contribute
Yeah, yeah.
here.
Oh, really? That's, I haven't
Yeah,
seen that.
they do that. They have little poles on it. It's interesting because it's always about it's like right on the top of Riverfront too. Like, you know, anything that you could reasonably expect there'd be complaints about. They're like, have your voice heard, like right at the top of by that car wash. Like if you don't like that there's only 2 lanes now, here's where you go to say something.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's 90% that. But yeah, they have that about a lot of the public spaces and stuff. So, you know, actually it's probably good that people contribute, because I like going out there too. And it's actually, if you're not in a vehicle and that's how you travel, it's one of the best ways to get through that area. It's kind of difficult to walk on some of these hills around Mankato because there's just not a good pedestrian path.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's kind of, a lot of people commute through that on foot sometimes even. Or at least some people do.
Maybe someone with like a highly specific route. But
Well, if I was going to walk to your house, I would probably, well, no, I wouldn't. Oh, no,
No.
because I could go through that
You'd-
way, Valium, and then down.
I've
yeah.
definitely walked through that park and like ended up in a neighborhood and I had no idea where I was going. Like,
I live
just
back
keep
in
going.
that neighborhood over there a
Yeah,
little
I guess
bit.
it's just people who know Willis.
Yeah. You could, like, if you were going to one of those houses back there, it'd be perfect. Yeah. Well, what else we got to get into? So you're designer, printmaker, and now collaborator with the Timberwolves on this project. So like, what else are you into? What other artistic processes or any other areas you're exploring?
I don't know. I guess I'm just always looking for something new to try out.
Yeah.
Yeah, lately I've just spent a lot of digital art, but I've been like just experimenting with a lot of different things, like even just like finding some tutorials online and like trying pixel art or like some comic book style stuff, just to try new things and just always trying to build my skills and like find my footing of like what might be the next thing that I'm really into.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you think that like your strength as an artist is then with like with finding a bunch of different stuff? Like, what do you keep kind of coming back to as the parts of your art that kind of shine through in whatever medium you're using?
I think one thing I really like in like the art I view every day is things that make you think about it after you've seen it or take things into extra consideration. And I try to really put that into my work, some storytelling. Like when I was in high school, when I first started drawing, I had always tried to draw like photorealistic, people or landscapes. And I think a lot of people are like that when they're younger. But the older I got, I guess I wanted to create something that didn't exist yet or like kind of made you question reality. So like everything I do, I try to like make it a little, I don't know, like a lot of like lately I've been doing a lot of like doppelgangers where like I add extra heads or extra eyes, like just trying to make something a little different every time and like trying to make its own story, even if I'm not straight up telling you what it might be.
What sort of art inspires you the most these days?
I kind of get it from everywhere. I play a lot of video games, so that kind of falls into it. I watch a lot of movies, and then some artists I really like are like Alex Party, Jonah Vaquez, and I don't like anybody who kind of just makes like kind of cartoony stuff that's a little out there. I watched a lot of horror movies growing up, so I like things that, like I said, are like a little like off or weird, but I never want to make anything like threatening or scary. Just things that look like you wouldn't go out and find it outside or something, you
It's
know,
that
like
Uncanny Valley kind of thing.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's fun.
Do you have any classic horror faves?
I like The Shining, if that counts. My sister and I were The Shining twins for Halloween this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my dude, we were at that show.
The drag show?
Yeah, we produced that.
Oh, and you didn't help us win? I lost to Wayne's World.
I think I yelled. I think I yelled for you.
Whatever. Sure. I'm a little salty about that, honestly.
Oh no, the tea's been spilled here. The contested election of the 2022 drag show costume contest. That was cool. That's interesting. Yeah,
that's fun.
That was a tiny miracle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right here at the desk.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about all I got for the questions. Are there any other things that we'd like to speak about, to tell the world about before we wrap things up?
Yeah. If you have any like anecdotes or anything before we do plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try to support local art, support art in your community. And if you've never like really tried new mediums, get out in there and try it. I think everybody needs their own outlet. So like, don't be afraid of like failing at that. Go try something new. I have a lot of people being like, oh, it's so cool you draw. I can never do that. Everyone can do it and everyone should. Like, just go try something new and just have fun with it.
Cool.
Sure. Where can people find you if they want to see your work, other than just on the side of the highway?
You can find me on Instagram at itmeg, ITMEG, or you can find me on my website, meganfick.com.
Cool.
And if someone does want to drive by, it's Victory.
It's over by like Stadium
Yes.
by campus, and then I-69 and 14. So Casey's by Eagle Lake or out by Land of Memories.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And everyone go do all the things that we talked about.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.